Hi, welcome to Stash Busting Saturday. My name's Dawn, I'm the Reclusive Crafter, and you've heard the expression and now for something completely different, and that's exactly what we're doing today. I'm concentrating more today on the true element of junk journaling, in that I want to use up some bits and pieces that I've got in my stash that are just sitting there collecting dust. So, example, I have lots of atlases. I don't know why I've got so many actually, but I have got rid of some, and I've kept some really large ones because I thought they'd be really nice for journaling. So that's what I want to concentrate on today. Welcome to my channel. If it's the first time you're here, welcome. And if you've been before, welcome back. I want to concentrate on making a journal out of an atlas, really. And I don't know if any of you like atlases, but if you actually look through them, you know, there are some beautiful images in them, and the pages themselves lend themselves really nicely to journal pages. We're always looking for something a little bit different. We use digitals, we use hand-dyed papers, we sort of make papers up from all sorts of things, ledger pages and books and all sorts of things. What you don't see much of is using map books, and yet they make beautiful backgrounds for different elements that you're using. So I thought I would go ahead and I want to actually make a journal up using these. Now, this is quite a large atlas, and I have worked out that one page is roughly the size of a normal journal. So I'm going to be using these. And the nice thing about this particular book that I've got is there are maps that are both horizontal and vertical. So I want to pull out all the horizontal ones so that I can use those for proper pages. So I've gone ahead and I've just, throughout the center of this, there's been sewing through it to obviously hold it together. So I've just snipped that for the moment, and what I want to do initially is to pull out some pages that are horizontal. For instance, these two. If we fold those over, they're actually an ideal size for a journal. So I'm going to go ahead and make myself up some pages for a journal. I don't want it to be a massive one, and it's more of an ideas journal that I'm going to be putting together. So that's effectively a page there, and if I fold that over, you will hopefully get the effect of what I mean. So if I fold that over, and the other thing with this is as well is usually maps are really good quality paper, so you know they make lovely lovely pages. So now if you can imagine this in your journal, you've got that as a page, and then you've got that as a page and that as a page. Obviously some of it's going to be around the wrong way, some of it's going to be around the right way. Does it really matter? To me, no, it doesn't. But if it did, you could always glue one to the other. It would make really thick pages, but it just depends what you're looking for in your journal. So that would be one page. This one would, that's all up the right way, although that would make a nice page. The reverse of it is the wrong way round, so we won't use that one. And then this here makes another nice page. That's vertical. Am I bothered? Not really. I'm going to fold that in and make another page out of that one. And fold that down. And then we can worry about the positioning of them later. So that's 2 pages we've got. And then this one again, where are we? That one's quite a nice one. I'm going to pull this one out as well. And the other thing that you can do, if you don't want a whole journal out of these pages, you can always intersperse them with other things like ledger pages and index books and other things. What have I just done with that? There it is. Yeah, so you know, you can do other things and add other bits in with them as well. In actual fact, I might go ahead and put some journal pages in, because this will probably end up being quite thick if I just use the pages of the atlas, because these are really thick pages, such good quality, but they are lovely. And with all the colours and, you know, the trouble that we go to colour up our pages and make them look nice, and yet with these atlases you've got an instant background there, you know, that you can just cover over and embellish and do whatever you want with, which I just think is fabulous. So if you've not thought of a use for your old atlases that are sitting around the home, maybe you'd like to give this one a try. Let's have a look, see what else we've got. Am I going to pull that out? Okay, this one's stuck in a little bit. I'm just going to ease it out so I don't end up tearing it too much. There we go. Okay, so that one, that's quite a nice page. I like the colouring on that one, so we're going to use that one as well. You can obviously trim the edges down as well, because this is actually going to be slightly larger than A4 size. If I show you, this is a basic A4. In the UK, this is an A4. So an A4, for those of you that are outside of the UK, is 11 3/4 in length, and in width it's an 8 1/4. So you can cut them down if you want to make them fit. As you can see, this is actually quite a bit bigger than the actual A4, so it would be a slightly bigger journal if you kept the pages the size they are. But as I say, you can trim them down. I mean, I would trim that edge off there, so I would probably take this bottom section off of all of these before I started putting it all together. So what I will do is, rather than keep you all, I'm going to go ahead and pull out some pages that I want, and then I'll come back and I will show you what we're doing with it all. Okay. So I've trimmed all the pages down how I wanted them. I've picked out the ones I've wanted, and all I've done is I've trimmed about a ½ centimetre around the whole lot, to give me the kind of size that I was looking for. I've added a few little journal pages in as well, and when I say journal pages, these are actually ledger pages that I've used. I'm just going to go through and just make sure things are how I want them. As I say, some of them are going to be upside down. You can't help that when it comes to maps. It is what it is, and I think that one wants to be up that way. I just want the ledger pages up the right way, so that's that. And I've also added in a few extra, I say a couple of dyed papers that I did, just to add a little bit more interest to the journal. And like this, I don't know if you can see this, but this is just very faintly coloured and inked. I just did that using water on, sorry, it was inks in water that I did that on, and they were just the mop-up pages, so just making use of those. And what way around does that want to be? That wants to be around that way. And then the only page that I've really paid attention to, as in what is on it, is the centre page, because I want the centre page to be England. So I've got England in the centre page, and that's going to be the journal as is. And we've actually got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Oh, come on. 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. There's exactly 15 pages there, which is an ideal amount for a one signature journal, which is all this is going to be. And just as a reminder as well, this is only going to be an ideas folder for me, an ideas journal. Now, I've also in my stash got lots of old Subway bags. Company I used to work for used to order in lunch for their staff every week or once a week, and I used to keep the bags for craft work and things. So I'm going to make the cover out of one of the bags. This is true junk journaling in its truest form, and then the outer part of the cover is going to be a piece of old wallpaper. I've got an old wallpaper roll that I've had in my stash for the best part of 30 odd years, I would say. So I'm going to use a little piece of that as well. So I'm going to glue the where is my glue? It's there. I'm going to glue on the base and see where we go from there. So like I say, this is junk journaling in its truest form. This is not using any pre-printed digitals or anything of that sort. This is literally just using stuff that, do you know what, you've probably got lying around your house. All right, you might not have the takeaway bag lying around your house, but I'm sure you'd have some kind of carrier bag or food bag or, you know, something that you could make use of to do your cover with. And these glues are so hard to get out of these tubes. And scribbledy, 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 scribble. Just shove a load of old glue over there. I think that'll probably do the job enough. Okay, so we're going to turn that over. It's just to hold it down and to pop that on there. Smooth it out nicely. Like I say, I've just cut this down to the size I wanted it. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to just corner off the edges a little bit, like that. You can use proper corner edges if you wanted to, if you've got them. I have got one, but for the purposes of this, I just wanted to show you how I kind of go about things. Okay, now then, I usually do the long side first. I'm going to pull that in there. And again, try and use a good amount of glue if you are using things like this, just to make sure you get a good cover. If you're into sewing as well, you can sew these covers. It's not something I generally missed the paper there. It's not something I generally do, to be honest with you. I'm not a big sewer, and to be honest with you, I always find it so much of a faff to get the sewing machine out to be bothered with it. Maybe if I had my my room organised a little bit better, maybe that might be an option, but for now, glue will do nicely. There we go. So that's that. It's make sure you get a good crease on it. Where's my magic stick? I don't know what I've done with it. Okay, we'll use this one instead then. I don't know what I've done with the other one. Oh, it's there. Look, silly me. I put it back where it's supposed to be. That's unusual, isn't it, for me? There we go. Give that a good burnish down. So that's that one. Let me just get rid of these bits. There we go. And now we're going to pop this one on here. And yeah, I'm recording this on Thursday. Is it Thursday today? I think it is Thursday today. And for those of you that are in the UK, I hope you're okay with these winds and things. We've got really high winds at the moment. They're absolutely blowing a hoolie outside. So I'm just pleased to be indoors, to be perfectly honest. Okay, I'm going to fold this over. This is quite a good quality wallpaper as well. It's really thick, so it is helping to be able to fold it over really nicely. Moral to the story, guys, use something underneath when you're gluing. Okay, there we go. That's good. That's that one down. Okay, and then these pieces, if you just push them in just slightly, just pinch it a little bit before you fold it up. Sorry, can you see that? I'm just pinching that in just there, just very slightly, just on the edges there, just to get a nice corner. You can, if you want to, use the metal corners. That is an option. Let me... Lift that up without creasing that bit underneath. No, not happy with that. Try again. How's that? That's about right, isn't it? Let me just crease that down before I glue it so that I get a good edge to it. There we go. Okay. And now we're going to glue this one down. To be honest with you, I've made so many journals recently that have been almost sort of pre-printed, if you like, the pre-made digitals that I've printed off. Being part of the design team for Scrimping Mummy, I've done an awful lot of those. Well, I say an awful lot, a few of them. So I haven't done anything solely junk journaly for a little while. So it's nice to kind of do something that's just off the bat like this. There we go. That's that one. And then I'm just going to do the same with this one. Again, just pinching that edge there, just to give a nice corner. And that one there. Okay. Now then, let me fold this over to get a good crease on that before I take it over properly. Okay. That's quite nice. It's going to be quite a soft journal fold, or folder I should say. It's not going to be a hardback at all. But by the time we've got the inside bit done as well, it will give it a little bit more stability. And you can, of course, make these out of cardboard. You know, if you've got old boxes and things lying around, you can do it with that, like cereal boxes or anything really. Anything that you want to use to make your journal with when it comes to junk journaling. Have I got a tissue somewhere, folks? Because I am making a right mess. There we go. Sorry if I'm shaking the living daylights out of you. There we go, push that down. I've now got glue all over my fingers. Okay, so that's the outer part of the journal done. And I'm going to marry those edges up and just fold that down. And now hopefully that will fit in there okay. And it does. It's a little bit squiffy, isn't it? I haven't done that very well at all. I wonder if I could just pull that up and just bend that over a little bit more. It's not terribly straight, to be fair. I would like to try and get it just a little bit straighter if I can. Let me re-glue that bit there. Just going to try and get it just a little bit straighter than it was. Don't know that it's let me have a look, see how's that. Is that any better? Little bit better, still not brilliant. I thought I'd cut it relatively square, to be fair, but clearly not. Still, the beauty of using the 3-in-1 and using things like this is it does give you that space to be able to make changes. That's a bit better, isn't it? Or is it? I don't know. It's good enough. It's good enough. By the time we've embellished and done all our bits and pieces with it, it'll be fine and dandy. There we go. Okay. It will be fine and dandy. There we go. Okay, so I'm going to pop that in there. And now what I want to do is I want to pop some pages just to cover the inside up a little bit. So let me just find my glue there. Okay. And what do I want to put in the center? I think I will use another one of the Atlas pages. Let's have a look, see how big is this? 9.5 inches by 12 by 13. 9.5 by 13. Now then, let's find a nice page to use for that. Which, oh, I know what I can use. No. They're the wrong way round. I was going to use one of the front pages, but I'm not particularly keen on it, to be fair. Let's have a look, see what we've got that's got quite a nice little bit going on. That's quite nice, isn't it? Let's use this one. There we go. We're going to use that one. And then that will sit very nicely in there. And literally all I'm going to do is just tidy up that rough edge. So I'm going to tidy that up. Like so. And then stick that on there. That looks nice, doesn't it? Do I want that side or do I? No, we definitely want that side. Okay. And ironically, it wasn't planned, but we've got British Columbia on there. So that's good too. Right then, these maps are probably so out of date, to be perfectly honest. The world has changed an awful lot since these were in print. So I wouldn't mind betting that, yeah, I wouldn't say the whole world has changed, but quite a bit of it has. Which I always think is a bit of a shame, isn't it? Is that actually even coming out? Oh, it is. I couldn't see. Just give that a squidgeroon with the glue. Gloopy-doo. Diddly-doo. There we go. I think that'll probably do. Hold it all down. Might put a little bit more on the corners there. Make sure I've got some around the edging. Good. Yep. I think that should. It's going to splurge out there. I can just tell. There we go. Okay. So, at the moment, it doesn't really matter what way up it goes, as long as we get it pretty central. So I would say probably about there. Smooth that out. There we go. And that is our cover done, pretty much. Pretty well thrown together. But you know what? For the purposes of what I want it for, it's going to be perfect. And then all I want to do now is just fold that over there. Give that a scooch down. And that will be our centre. And then I will sew that in there. And then I can start embellishing and doing bits and pieces with it. I've got all my bits and pieces together. And now what I'm going to do is to get this into position. I say I've got all my bits and pieces together. I nearly had all my bits and pieces together. I didn't get my little bits. There we go. Okay. So make sure that your signature's all as you want it, and pop it into your cover. Placing it again roughly where you want it. And then with the clips, let's just clip that in. Actually, that needs to go up a little bit, I think. Let's just pop it up just a smidgen. There we go. That's better. And now pop that one on there. And then we're going to pop this one on this side. And this one on this side. The sewing method is a little bit more fiddlier than the Medora style. I must admit, the Medora style is so much easier to do. I'm just going to move these out a little bit to give me some space. But yeah, it just depends on what you're actually looking to achieve and what look you want at the end of the day. And also whether or not you're going to be interchanging pages, because the Medora style gives you the opportunity to interchange your pages as well, if you want to. Okay, so I think we're about there. I'm just going to make sure that's all in place there. And I'm just going to use this book to lean on just while I pop my holes in. I'm not measuring, I'm just doing it by eye. So I'm just going to go in there, poke my hole through, and then about maybe 1.25 inches, 1.5 up. So about there. And then about the same distance at the top. Again, it really doesn't have to be rocket science. If you want to measure it out so that it's all perfect, feel free to do so. I haven't. And then I'm going to get my needle. I need a good size needle because I'm using quite a hefty, I don't think that's going to be big enough. I'm using quite a hefty cotton on this. So it needs to be a good hole on it. And you want roughly 3 lengths of your cotton. Like so. Let me just get this book out of the way. I don't need that now. I just used that to protect the desk while I was doing the holes. Okay, let's sew it in. Alright, so we go in through the centre. In through the bottom or top. Doesn't really matter which way around you do it. Pull it through. And then all the way down to the 3rd hole. And then back in through the centre hole. There we go. And try and make sure that you get them either side of the centre string. So like so. Okay. And then if you're happy that that's all as it should be, nice and tight, which it is. Okay, we can then do a little knot, 1 and 2. Pull it good and tight. And if you're that way inclined, you can tie a little bow too. There we go. Where's the other end? I can't see it. I've lost me in. There it is. Let me just pull that good and tight. That's that one. That's that one. And I'm just going to cut those little pieces off. Like so. And that is the quickest junk journal you will ever have seen. And now we can start embellishing. So there we go. So we've got our lovely journal all in place, and it's all ready to start decorating and embellishing and putting in whatever you want to. So that's that. So that's it for today, guys. Stash Busting Saturday is done. I will look forward to seeing you all for Mishmash Monday, and I haven't made my mind up yet what we're doing for that. So thanks very much for your time today, guys, and I will see you Monday. Bye for now.